Out of Order Gun Rights Podcast, episode 45.
Welcome to the Out of Order Podcast, your window into the firearms community, exploring those shaping the future of our rights and protecting our lifestyle, laws, legal cases, activism, and self-defense in a candid and honest podcast for our brothers and sisters in arms. Here's your host, James Colandro.
Thank you for tuning in to episode 45 of the Out of Order Gun Rights Podcast. Today's sponsor is NagYourRep.com, where you can annoy an anti-gunner, embrace your inner gun nut, and do your part to keep America great by consistently, automatically reminding your elected representatives to defend the Second Amendment. Today's guest is Anthony Colandro from Gun for Hire. We've had Anthony on. Anthony was actually our first guest on this podcast, and bringing him back on today to talk about his run for NRA board and for the 2019 seat. And now, here's Anthony.
Anthony Colandro, welcome to the show.
Hey, James, how's everything?
Very good, very good. So, Anthony, you're running for NRA Board of Directors. Would you tell us how it's going?
I'm running for 2019 board seat. Right now I'm running on petition, so I have until October. I need to get about 1,000 signatures by NRA life members or someone who's been a member for the NRA for 5 years or more. So you have to be a voting member. And once I get that, I'll be on the ballot to run. I'm also hoping that the NRA Board of Directors, the nominating committee, might also nominate me to run as well, which would make the run a bit stronger. But, you know, who knows? Every year, 25 directors come up for election for a 3-year term, so I don't know if I'll get in or not. Depends on the election cycle, I guess. But I'm looking for support. Obviously, you're familiar with my activism and everything I do for the Second Amendment rights, especially in New Jersey.
Absolutely. And for the rest of the country, could you share why they might want somebody from New Jersey on the NRA Board of Directors?
Well, yes, I'm not politically correct. I own a large gun range in the New York metropolitan area. I'm definitely a counterpuncher. I'm socially active. I'm professionally active in the Second Amendment rights. I am the executive vice president of the state NRA, ANJRPC, in New Jersey. I am also on 3 NRA committees. I'm on range development, education and training, and clubs and associations. So I'm very active. I like to go down to Trenton and testify, just like you have in the past. So I'm looking to take my energy and try to get into the NRA on the board, because I feel I have some unique skills owning a gun range 14 miles from Manhattan. I'm an NRA master training counselor. And we deal with people all day of every walk of life, every different size, shape, and color. I'd like to take my expertise and help the NRA get more penetration and support with the minority communities and with the female communities. I think that I have a good voice for that, and I think I'm really locked in and in tune with those needs. So that's one of the major reasons why I'm so active, and I'd like to try at least a 3-year term on the board.
Yeah, and so you've had a lot of success really diversifying your customer base. Would you maybe tell us how you managed to do that?
Well, my range is very clean, very female, family-friendly. Again, I'm 14 miles from New York, but we keep the range spotless, air quality spotless. Bathrooms are impeccable, you know, and again, I'm in the business after safety. The most important aspect of the business is hospitality. So we're in the hospitality business. And my job as a Second Amendment advocate, first and foremost, is when I get new people to come in the range, a lot of them could be, you know, anti-gun liberals or progressives. My goal is that if they leave the range after spending 2 hours at my facility, I will change the narrative of what a gun range looks like, what gun range employees and owners look like. But if that person leaves the range neutral to our cause, I consider that a win. Because most of the time when they're coming in, they have a perception that the range is going to look like a biker bar with a bunch of, you know, hillbillies running it. And they've never shot a gun before, so they're scared. They don't know what kind of safety training they have to go through. They don't know how safe a gun range really is. So it's my job to educate these people, new shooters. And so when they leave, we change that narrative. A small percentage of them become gun people, but even if we get people, again, like I said, who leave the range neutral to the cause, the next time a tragedy happens or the next time guns are in the news, those are the people that are at the water cooler in their business or job in New York City or whatever. They're not going to be trashing us. They're going to be saying, well, wait a minute, I went to a range. It didn't look like that. It wasn't like that. People were nice. There were people of every color and sexual persuasion and religion there. And we had a lot of fun, and safety was paramount. That is my goal. And it's grown like wildfire. I mean, my range on the weekends, we have a 2 or 3 hour wait. And that's why I'm building a huge expansion next door. So the challenges are there because you have to stay on top of it. But again, I have my finger on the pulse of the New York metropolitan area, and I feel I could offer my services and my knowledge, and I can share it with people if people will listen, so that we can all across the country get on board and embrace this wave of new shooters.
Yeah, and so you've managed to bring people in from very anti-gun areas. Do you think the majority of people living there are as anti-gun as the laws suggest they would be?
No, they follow the media narrative. Again, I talk to people from Bronx, Brooklyn, Queens, Staten Island, Manhattan, and I'll talk to them like, how was your experience? Good. Was it what you expected? No. I expected it to be a dark, dirty place. I expected everybody to have beards and flannel shirts, and like Confederate flags hanging up. Again, that's 40, 50 years of the progressive media, I like to call them activists, not journalists, always pumping the same narrative all the time. And when people come in, they're quite shocked. I wonder how many people we can't get to, regardless of how much advertising and videos and still photos we have. How many people won't come into a facility like this? Maybe their alternate lifestyle, maybe it's a gay couple. They're afraid that we're going to beat them up in the parking lot or something. I tell people all the time, I'm a capitalist. The only color I see is green.
So for people listening, what would you say to them? What should they do to sort of help bring new people in, to help change that stereotype?
We talk about this on my podcast all the time. Each one, reach one. Everybody should introduce new people to the shooting sports. Take them to your favorite range. Introduce them to the owner. Listen, a lot of you have to reach back a long time, some of you not so long ago. Remember how nervous and intimidated you were the first time you walked into a gun store or a gun range. Now you walk in, it's like second nature. I always kind of compare it to the first time you drove a car alone after you took lessons from family or professional. You'd get in, adjust the mirrors, make sure the seatbelt was on, adjust the seat, adjust the steering wheel, check everything 3 times before you put the car in gear. 2 weeks later, you're plopping right in the seat, pulling the shifter handle and driving away, right? So we kind of forget when we had our training wheels on when we first got into shooting. What better way than to introduce people and you bring them in as the friend, as the medium, and come in and say, look, this is my friend Joanne, and she's never shot before, and I'm going to be showing her what to do today. If everybody does that 10 times, think about how many more shooters we'd have or how much more successful we would be in changing the narrative. And we can all work those people. Some people that are hard left, they never want to look or touch a gun. But in my experience, almost 100% of the population is willing to try it one time. And as responsible gun owners, I think it's our obligation to show them that. We also should show them what the process is to get a gun, the permitting, the fingerprints, everything. Because, again, the media says you walk into a store, you get a package of Dentyne, an iced tea, an AR-15, 5,000 rounds of ammo, and a 300-round magazine. That's the way the media has it put. And, and you buy it real quick and walk out the door. Let them go through the process if they're interested. Help them and guide them through it. And all of a sudden, you're going to find we have more fighters on our side, more people defending our cause.
Yeah, it's true. And you mentioned if each one did 10, in New Jersey, 12% of the population owns guns. There's about 9 million of us. If each of us went out and talked to 10 people, that would be the entire population.
Correct. Correct.
So how can people help you with your NRA initiative, your NRA board?
I have a website, Colandro, COLANDRO, FORNRA.com, Colandro for NRA.com. Petitions are there. You can print them out and sign them. Friends and family. There's posters there. Anybody listening that goes to gun shows or any type of gun event, if you want to bring one of the 8.5 by 11 posters, print out a few petitions, get the person's name and address and have them fill it out. And then in October, we'll announce that they have to be mailed back into me so I can compile them all and send them to the office of the Secretary of the NRA. I have on Facebook, Colandro for NRA too. Anybody that wants to, share it and support me, I would deeply appreciate it, and I will do everything in my power to make all of you proud.
Great. And can they help in any way get you nominated, or is that kind of
No.
Okay.
That's up to the nominating committee. I guess it's 5 to 7 board members every year get picked. Different people get picked, and they decide who they're going to nominate. So I'm on 3 committees this year. There's talk I might be on a 4th committee. I'm waiting for the announcement. There's a good chance. I ran 5 years ago, and I was 6,000 votes short to get on the board, but I ran on petition only. There have been some rumors that I might get nominated this year, but again, that's a 50-50, so I have to run a petition as well, so I don't wait too long and waste my time.
Okay. And Anthony, I know you've been on the show before, but I always ask everybody if there's books they recommend that people should listen to. Any new ones come to mind?
Any books you should talk about? Well, if you haven't read In the Gravest Extreme by Massad Ayoob, everybody should read that. Very easy to read, and it's called In the Gravest Extreme, and the author is Massad, Massad Ayoob. Go on Amazon.com, order it today. I don't know if they have a book you can listen to. I'm still old school. I read pages. But that's a primer for anyone who wants to have a gun for home defense. Okay? In the Gravest Extreme. You will not be disappointed.
Oh, great. And you have the podcast that comes out. Is it every Sunday?
Every Sunday at 9 a.m., Gun for Hire Radio.
All right. Great.
Last week we had 1.34 million downloads.
Wow, that's amazing. I am happy every day when it goes over 100. I'm like, yes, we broke 100.
Well, I've been doing it 8 years, James. 8 years.
Right. Yeah.
So you'll get there.
Thank you. Yeah.
You'll get there.
Let's see. Any additional words for our listeners?
Keep fighting the fight. And remember, we talked about this the last show. Do not vote with your feet. Stand and fight, because the progressive crazies are spreading like locusts across this country. And we have to take a stand regardless of where you live. And what happens in New Jersey does not stay in New Jersey. If you need an education on that, just Google the Lautenberg Act and you'll understand why. So everybody should fight. I don't want to hear from anybody I'm voting with my feet, because we're running out of real estate.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. And for people who may not have heard yet, what's happened in New Jersey? You guys, I'm here too. So we got some new laws, magazine ban, and
6 new laws were just passed. About 80 more will be pitched up in the next couple of months for sure. We went from 15-round magazine to 10-round magazine with no compensation for our property. And so we're all million gun owners are going to become felons. And then in addition to that, a bunch of laws were passed where any any health professional that thinks you might be a danger can report you, and you will be arrested and your stuff will be confiscated without due process.
Wow.
Yes. Well, lawsuits are coming for them. And we also have a right to carry case that's headed towards the Supreme Court, which is perfect timing because it looks like Trump's going to get another justice. And
right.
If I have time this Sunday, I'm going to take Justice Ginsburg zip-lining so that maybe Trump will get another appointment.
All right. Well, Anthony, I thank you so much for being on the show, and I look forward to having you on again soon.
James, thank you for everything you do.
Thanks again for tuning in to episode 45 of the Out of Order Gun Rights Podcast. Today's show notes page, outoforderjameskalita.com/Anthony Colandro. And head over to the show notes page. You'll see links to Anthony's NRA board campaign site, Gun for Hire Range, Gun for Hire Radio, and of course you can find links to our sponsors. You can use the Amazon affiliate links, help out the show at no additional cost to you. Also find links to Liberty Classroom, where you can get the history and economics lessons they didn't teach you in high school, and to Liberty Maniacs, where you can get those really cool Liberty and pro-gun tees, mugs, and other merchandise. Of course, please remember to head over to nagyourrep.com, where you can get the tools you need to regularly and consistently remind your elected representatives how you feel about gun control. Out of Order, James Kalita. We'll see you next time.